there's no place to actually feel safe. And I think that's what was a really kind of profound thing to know. Safety is a state of mind we can't even ensure for each other, you know? So what is it that we do then to sustain ourselves? And I think that was a big piece I thought about with this. And then finally, I think the other thing about being a woman organizer is that I think when men lead, they primarily bring themselves. You know, they're like especially I think with cis men, it's like you'll see them and you'll know them and you won't know anything else. But I think when women lead, we bring our families. And I think what I'm so struck by is that, you know, every one of us here, when we talked about ourselves and our stories, we talked about someone in our family who's impacted. And I guarantee you at any of the movement events that we've had, you'll see our mother, you see our brother, you see our sisters, you'll see our fathers, because it's the unit of the family is so much nurtured in our leadership. And I think that's why it's critical to center those who are the most impacted by cis trans patriarchy, cis and transphobic heteropatriarchy, to have those voices centered, because then we all are present. And I feel like that's what I think is missing. And I think that's what we bring to the table.
Did you want to add anything about what you think being a woman in this space, any unique challenges or any sort of special benefits actually?
Not about myself, but I did want to share one thing. So I've been working with families who have someone that is facing entrapment, someone that's being held in a communication management unit, which is a supermax prison. Everyone's held in solitary. So I was running this workshop on reclaiming your story. And everyone that showed up was a mother, sister, daughter of someone that was in prison. And so we were talking about being Muslim, what it means to be targeted, and being able to tell your story without using someone else's language, without using someone else's lens, and creating your own. And there was a overwhelming majority of people who didn't see themselves as leaders. They laughed at that. And they were the ones that worked to support their family when their partners were incarcerated. They were the ones that visited their partners, that went to all the lawyers' meetings, to get support, to get their partners and fathers and brothers out of prison. And I think that happens a lot, right? Like there's a sense of duty that we have to the people that we feel kinship towards. And I think that we're kind of creating that here too, by being able to connect with each other. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, that in many ways we don't see ourselves as leaders, and we see this as part of our life's work, as part of who we are. You know, sometimes it's hard to see yourself as a leader.
I thank you for that. I think that's really, really important, that the people, we have some idea of what leader is like, and we're usually outside of that definition. Just as you were saying, what we're learning together, I wanted to know, we only have about 20 more minutes for us before Q&A. I wanted to know what you think we need to do in order to work better. You can start across movements so that we are able to really support each other in the idea of justice and fairness and dignity for all of us. So what would you suggest that we need to do in order to work better together? But yeah, anyone can go on that. Not everybody has to weigh in.
What did I think?
How do we work better together across the many causes that we're working on?
I think social media is best. Connecting with each other through social media, coming together, supporting each other. I think women standing together, united, they can get it done. I think females, is masterminds at organizing and getting a lot of people together and speaking out to people and you know it's all about networking and getting the word and out there and just working together and planning things together and joining different actions.
Great. I mean, and the other way I might phrase this question is, what gets in the way of us working well together across these different areas? Yeah.
I want to say first, some people need to stop putting their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big problem when we lose a loved one. People come in and they pretend that they want to help us, but they have their own agenda.
What does that look like?
It's it doesn't look good, and it's bad because we in a state already that we can't even function properly, and then we see people coming that say they want to help us. We in a dark hole already. We can't see, and then everybody that comes to us that's supposed to be helping, we welcome them because we don't know because we in this dark room and we can't see. So everybody that comes and say we want to help, we gravitate to them, thinking that they're really there to help us. But little by little, when we come into that dark apartment, we start to see who people really are. But it do takes a long time to see because we have all this stuff we have to deal with. We have to deal with funerals. We have to deal with, in my case, I had to deal with another little boy, and people come in, oh, I want to help you. I'm there for your family. And they're really not. They're only there to say, well, I was with Romali's call when he first got killed. We was protesting all together. No, don't do that. Be real. Be real. If you're there to help us, be there to help us. Not to pretend that you want to help us when you have your own agenda. And that's a big problem when it comes to the fact that lose loved one. That was great that you brought that up. I that completely slipped my mind. But just like Constance said, people coming into this with their own agenda and dividing us with their own agendas. They come and act like they're so compassionate and want to help and say, can you come to this or can you do this or whatever. We don't miss. We want you to be involved, but really, it's not about us, the person. Our story is about our name and what we've been through, and they want to make money. They want to, just like around the world, this lady patent I Can't Breathe. That's supposed to be, something so sacred that, the family, we can't cope with that, but it's something that we have to do because
Someone trademarked that?
yes,
Really?
right before I went to court to go file charges. I mean, not charges. File the paperwork to patent it. A white lady, already did it. Out of state. She already did it. So it's nothing that my family can do about it. It's just words, but it still means something to us. So these people come in and take what's so valuable to us and make a franchise out of it. Want to sell T-shirts, want to sell buttons, want to sell this, and give none of the proceeds to the family. I mean, it shouldn't be about money. That's the whole thing in this movement. A lot of people have different agendas, and everything is about money and getting their name and making a name for themselves. And it's really supposed to be supporting the family and doing what you feel is right. That's why I say people that that's going to protest with me, protest with a purpose. Why are you out here today? Not because you was there when my father, if things happen with my father or whatever. Why are you here today? What do you have to say to me? What do you want? Because I'm not just falling and getting in bed with anyone. I've been tricked, confided in it.
I wanted to do like a meet and greet. Instead of people coming out to my protest and just, shouting and stuff, I wanted to do a meet and greet. We meet each other, we greet each other, we keep in contact, with the text messages and social media or whatever. And someone burned down my father's memorial. So I was very upset, and I called immediate action, and a whole bunch of people came out to support me to rebuild it. Because I was like, that's not going to discourage me. There was a lady out there pretending to be a protester from out of town. She wanted to talk to me or whatever. I was talking with her, and she was asking weird questions, and it didn't come into my mind, but it was in the back of my mind. Come to find out, she was a reporter and had me recorded undercover. And I woke up the next day and my face is all over the news saying bad things about Al Sharpton. I'm like, whoa, but these are the type of people that you need to keep an eye out because they come in with their own agendas and exploit your pain. So,
Thank you. Any other thing you think gets in our way from seeing all of the wonderful things we talked about today, the commonality, the combined power, and how do we overcome those things? Anybody else have any thoughts about that? How do we work better together? Either way.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think that one of the things that often gets in our way is our fear of making mistakes when we work together, and just not even working together. Like people come out to actions and people sign petitions and things like that, and then like sign their name onto things, but don't do the work of meeting you daily, of checking in with you and being like, okay, how do we build this together? How do we get closer and closer to getting rid of the Department of Homeland Security? So that, like how do we do that? If we're not working together, if we're just chipping away in this one little corner and someone else is on the other side chipping away at the other corner and we don't really see each other, and then we're making like minor dents, and then the system can accommodate that. So I think that we really need to begin working with each other. We really need to be building with each other. I think we need to understand each other and understand our struggles.
Yeah.
I think hearing about Dalit women's struggle, I think, I remember when I first learned about it, it wasn't something that I grew up with. And I think that many people probably say that to you. So I think, learning about each other and then working with each other and being honest about our mistakes and owning them and learning from them.
I would say that I also see that people sometimes worry about where the resources or the attention is going to go, or whether if I pay attention to your thing, then my thing will get short shrift, and my thing's been getting short shrift for a long time, and your stuff is getting more attention, and there is sort of this fabricated sort of struggle. It's not the real struggle, in other words, that we get. We think there's not enough space for everybody's struggle. I don't know if you've noticed that, or that's something you've seen.
I think it's, just like I think we talk a lot about, you know what your model of social change is. I think you really need to think about what your model of power is. And power isn't a zero-sum game. So it's like, if the Luge has power, then all of a sudden I don't, But I think that power, like life, is infinite, and in many ways, I think we are so much stronger and united than we are in our individual selfhood. And that, just even in hearing like my fellow panelists' stories today, I feel so nourished, and I don't feel alone the way that I think violence is meant to make you feel. Violence makes you feel smaller. It disrupts me, And so when you have to rebuild yourself, because there's nothing more meaningless than like the loss of a child, the loss of a father. And I think that it's intentional to do that, to disrupt our ability to create the selfhood that we need to propagate, to have dignity, to have family. So there is no greater act of self-determination than to restore meaning in our resistance. So I feel like part of my answer to that question is that learning from each other, building with each other, fighting with each other is one of the things that I feel like we often don't make time for because we're so working like in this survival mode. But I think survival is a long game, and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And part of that is knowing that when we take the time out to build with each other, we're investing in our movement and we're investing in our survival. So that's a big piece for me. And the other thing is I think the practice of self-care. I feel like in the face of like immediate violence, it feels so selfish to think about the things that you might need to nurture yourself at that moment. But I remember having like an intervention done to me, being like, you're not going to be able to
To make the long game, right? Yeah.
But it feels
It's so
represent-
important. and
I'm
urgent.
here to represent someone that's not here anymore. And I remember, like in particular, there's this one story, this one woman, where it was a mother and her daughter was raped and set on fire in her own home, and her perpetrator lives like right across the way, and their family lives for like under $5 like a week, and it's a situation that's feudal where the perpetrator comes from the land owning class. So they have to still work the fields of the relatives of the person that raped and set their daughter on fire. And so knowing, like having sat in that family's home, having held her daughter, like the urgency of what it means to fight is more real. It's not clickbait, it's not a headline, it's someone that I know. So I feel like the energy of that also means I have to be the best version of a storyteller, the best version of a fighter that I can be to keep telling that story until we don't have to tell it anymore.
Yeah, well said, well said. We've got to wind down, but I know Constance had a thing. So here's the last, you have to sort of figure out if you can say this in 2 or 3 words, each of you. But what's the one thing you want people to know about what you are trying to do when it comes to justice and dignity? One thing that we should know that would make a difference and support the work that you're doing and we're doing all together. And you have to give me like 1 minute.
We just need the support because as a mom fighting for justice for our son, I can't do it by myself. I need a community because as a mom losing her child, it's a heavy burden to carry, and I need help to carry that. And the community is one of the persons that I lean on over these 3 years to help me. And right now, my kids in the DOJ, so they are investigating, they are moving, but we know it's going to be a long battle, and we still need help. So we ask the community to continue to support us in what we're doing because justice for all is justice for all.
Denise, yes, thank you so much. Well done. Go ahead, Denise.
That's a hard question. I think the thing I would like you all to keep in mind is that in all of this work, we need to go deeper into the issues that we're all fighting for because we are made to believe that it is our issue and that what we are fighting are the effects of those issues when we need to be fighting the root causes of those issues, and that that it is okay to have principles and to know what those principles are. For myself, I am not here because I'm a socialist. I am a socialist because I am here. Because the tragedies that I have lived have made me realize what I stand up for and what I am fighting for and what I will not rest until I see that we are on our way to building. And that's just a world without oppression and a world without few people being able to benefit from the work of the majority of us, and then being able to pull that curtain in front of them and invisibilize themselves and pretend that they are not there, that they are not living in comfort while we are all suffering. So definitely going deeper, aiming higher, and knowing what side we are on and who our enemies are.
Thank you. We got like 3 minutes. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna just keep it short. As you can see, I just want to leave you with that thought of that video that I showed earlier. You know, this is an everyday struggle. It's not going to stop. We're not going to stop until our issues are met and these politicians are held accountable, no matter what it is. And we're just going to stay strong, and we're going to depend on and look forward to the Department of Justice and their new Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, the first Black woman to be Attorney General. And we hoping for changes. She made a change in Baltimore by indicting these officers, or charging them, should I say, charging them. You know, we if you don't know, Freddie Gray is the guy who got his neck snapped down in Baltimore, and I also participated in his funeral. You know, that case is moving swift, but we still can't forget all the others and all the recent killings that happened. And like, this is real. It's not just one story after another. It's not just because this story is not promoted by the media or nobody's talking about it. This thing happened every day. It just so happened that someone decided to take out a phone and record it. So what I want to leave you today, if you see something going on wrong or whatever, the way you become active is taking out your phone and reporting these officers. Thank you.
So one thing that I could really that I would ask is, if anything about what you learned was new for you, share it with 5 people. And I also think that, I think that the issue of caste and the resistance of Dalit peoples is a new issue for a lot of people, but you're going to keep hearing more of it in the next couple of months. And I think the best way to follow it is through the hashtag Dalit Women Fight. That's DALITWOMENFIGHT. And we're active on Facebook and Twitter. And in the next couple of months, we need a lot of hands on deck, because we're going to be doing some massive actions. So if you have a special skill, like you're an artist or you're a communicator or you're just a down in the streets fighter, we need you. And so just feel free to contact me on Twitter at @DalitDiva, or through the That's What She Said crew. But we really, really, really are looking for the world to stand with us as we hold media accountable, and just truly, truly love the support and the solidarity, because we are not going to let this violence continue in our lifetime.
I think the last thought that I want to leave everyone with is that change is possible. That the reason why we're here is because things have changed in the system that have made it so that we could be here. And so we need to keep that in mind, that every time we feel like that the system is so big, that the roots go way too deep, there are people that fought before us that have won change. And we can maintain it, and we can make our living conditions better. And we are going to continue surviving and thriving until we totally transform the world so that it can be the world that we want. So I think that spirit of resistance, I think we need to invigorate that in us and keep each other hopeful.
Yes. Well, that's what they said. Just thank you so much for bringing every piece of yourself here tonight, your experiences. Everybody, I just want to remind you that there is a hashtag for this event as well, right? So hashtag that's TW.
YTWSS.
You got it better, right? I said, yeah, that's what she said. Yes. Do you do 2015? Because when I put the hashtag, it said 2015. No, it doesn't matter.
Kind of doing what they want.
Okay.
YTWSS NYC. We are on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat as that's what she said.
Yes. So thank you so much for creating this space. It was amazing. Yes? Yes. We're going to have Q&A, and but I just wanted to say that one thing that is, I mean, lots of things are resonating with me, but that thing that you said, which is, I really want to put it out there because I know that we have been bathed in a westernized idea of individuality and the idea of scarcity, and there is no lack. And what you said is that power is infinite. And if we can all put our great thoughts and our resources and our ideas and our sense of justice together, there can be no stopping us. So thank you so much for you coming and adding your power and your witness to this particular gathering. So thank you so much. You're wonderful. Appreciate it. So, do you still have to shoot out? Okay, so unfortunately, she has something going on that's pretty serious that she's got to deal with. I know you will all want to ask her questions, but she told you also where you can get more information and you can be in touch with her all the time, but she has to go and attend to that. So thank you for thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, tell me what questions you have out there for our panelists. Yes.
I'll just.
Do you want to stand? Because so that people can hear you.
You have a mic
Oh, you have a
right
mic.
there.
Okay. Oh, there's a mic right there. Perfect.
Just so that we all know, we're going to be prioritizing questions from women
Okay.
in the room.
Yes.
Gentlemen, your questions are important too. This is a conversation primarily amongst women, and we'd like to encourage your voices first.
I love when you can do that. I love when you can do that. Yes.
My question is very short. What does solidarity mean to you? What does solidarity mean to you?
I didn't understand the word at first when I started standing in solidarity, but solidarity means to me standing with someone, feeling the same pain, sharing their pain, even if I don't even know like the person personally, like standing in solidarity means to me that, you know, I have to be there. It's like a calling, you know, just like people had to be at my father's funeral, like people had to be, you know, at the protesters. So, you know, it feels like I need to be there and show support. I'm there for a reason, that I'm just not there just standing around. This is a real issue, and, you know, it's just standing with other family members, like, you know, a prayer, a hug, you know, a nice gesture, you know, something.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Great question.
Anyone else? Questions? I guess there could be comments too. So something you took away, something that resonated with you, any sharing? Yes.
So you mentioned before that having people come with their own agenda has really not been helpful. I was wondering if you could give examples where people have turned out and that they have really actually what's been most supportive to you. Is it mobilizing? Or what is the best support that you've received in this time of sustainability?
What's been positive in supporting the work that I do, and it is mobilizing. It is people that coming out with wholeheartedly, with coming out genuinely, and asking me, how can we help Elevate? How can we help you? How can we, you know, what can we do? Well, I tell them, I need organizers. I need people to do flyers. I need this. I need that. I need, you know, the help. Not just having your voice. I just need your footwork. I need you to put in some work. Like, you know, even if it's just writing up a flyer and just sharing it around with your friends. That's what I ask for. If you can't come out, follow me on Twitter. keep promoting out the stuff that I'm doing, keeping me updated on what's going on. You know, those are certain ways that people with their own agenda can help me. You know, it's like it can be I can help you too, but let me know. Don't use me because I'm not just a tool. You know, I was raised better than that. You know, and yeah, that's all.
Basically, when I said on agenda, when you come to help somebody, you don't tell them what you want them to do. You ask them, how can I help you? And let that person tell you, how can they help you? You know, you might have a little disagreement, but it's you could you could agree to disagree on stuff. You know, but just don't, like I said, just don't come with your own agenda. Ask that person, how can I help? It goes a long way, believe me. It's a long way to us in that situation.
I think for me, the most support, when I feel most support is when people understand that solidarity is a verb, it's an action, it's doing something. And also that if people have their agendas and that you're not going to stop anyone from having their agendas, but don't come to just help me, come to teach me and teach each other. And learn with each other because we are individuals, but we are an entire humanity. And whatever we put out there is not the final word. It's not the final story. There are other people who will pick up those pieces, who will answer those questions or at least try to. So for me, it's just teach me how to do things so that I can do them myself. And then teach each other and help me teach other people because we are only going to be able to stand in solidarity when we all know what solidarity is.
I think it was a really important reminder that all our causes may seem really dispersed, very, very different, but the base of it is about injustice. And very well, our oppressors do know each other and work extremely well together. So if we work together better and help each other reach out our hands in as many ways as we can move ourselves out of.
Sure. Sure. What I learned about in this work, everybody's not going to agree. Everybody's not going to agree. But we can come to some type of middle ground. You know, a lot of people, you know, get angry, have fights and all this or whatever, just fighting, but we are fighting for the same cause and justice, no matter if it's, you know, injustice towards women, if it's justice towards immigrants, if it's injustice towards any type of human that's on this earth. But like I said earlier, to make your own, you know, to make your own agenda, to come and rap out of nowhere and want to do shows in the name of Eric Garner, that's not, you know, justice. But, you know, but, you know, you do like meetings, conversations, you know, come to some type of compromisation, like something, you know, something positive, pass on the positive, and, you know, I don't know, like, just everybody just be peaceful, just come together, non-violent, and, you know, if you don't know Martin Luther King, look up Martin Luther King and follow his lead, because he was a powerful man, and I feel, he's like my idol, my role model, like, you know, I want to be that powerful. I want to be out there talking to masses or whatever. I don't want to be a leader because I believe everyone is a leader and I don't follow behind anyone. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? Anyone else?
Any last questions? And then you're also invited this time.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary opportunity.
Yes.
I was just like listening and learning, and then I think that it's important to ask ourselves, what are we willing to sacrifice? Like, what are we willing to give up? Not that we should be willing to lose anything, but like, what are aspects of like our story that like really hold us back, that we're willing to like give up so that we could be in solidarity with each other.
You wanna share?
Do you, as you get on this journey, what have you given up in that regard? Where you changed what you thought, or what you thought you needed to keep with you in order to maintain your world as you knew it?
Yeah, I think we have so many ways that we figure out how to protect ourselves. I think that we think of ourselves sometimes as victims, as people that will always be victimized. And so I gave up, or I've been trying really, really hard. I mean it. I've been really trying to challenge the self-victimization. And because when I do that, I don't see the potential in other people either. And so everyone else's survival is based on me giving up my story.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
trying to get that.
Wow. Wow. It's huge.
Certain things that I have to give up while I'm doing this work. Well, I think the most important part is my how I get so angry when I see people trying to make money off my dad. Like, it's like a common thing. There's nothing I can do about it, but it's just, but that type of anger, that type of hate can make you, it could break you. It could break what you're trying to do if you try to focus on petty stuff. So what I want to say particularly about this movement, if you're involved in this movement, try not to let the petty stuff get to you, and look towards your goal, and don't stop. It's going to be, the devil is always going to work. He's going to be working hard on you. So you got to stay positive. You got to know that's the devil just knocking at your door. And yeah, that's like the main part. I have to get over that hump. And I believe if I get over that hump, I'll be more better. I'll see more things, and I'll just be more freer of thinking about that, because people are gonna do what they're gonna do regardless. So I can't stop every single person, but I can stop myself from thinking about that. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
She pretty much said it. Like, you can't be angry at everybody, because the amount of stuff that they said about my son when he was killed, he was chased. Well, it was most of the media and Ray Kelly at the time. Ray Kelly put out a story that my son struggled with the officer, and then the next day he came back and retracted that story in front of millions of people. And they said they chased my son, and 3 videos showed my son walking. So even 3 years later, I have to try to defend him, saying, you haven't seen this video. Look at the person that's running, and look at the person that's walking, putting the key in the door. How can he be running and changing his clothes at the same time? So, it gets me angry, but I have to hold by myself sometimes and not stoop to their level. I just said, you know what? You're going to believe what you believe at the end of the day. I know what happened. There's proof. And if you're willing to listen or willing to see what happened, just go on YouTube and you see everything for yourself. And that's just how I deal with it. You can't let these people beat you down. You're already beat down enough just fighting for justice for your child, and to fight with somebody saying negative stuff. It's just not worth it. I'm bigger than that, so I just let that roll off my back and keep on moving.
Just really quickly, I think for me, the biggest and hardest thing that I've had to give up, and that's been instilled in me over and over in the struggle, is have to give up the idea that you have to do things alone. And give up the shame. Give up the shame about not being able to do things alone. Because it's proven to us over and over, when we try to do things alone, that doesn't work. and that being embarrassed for it on top of trying to do things alone, it just leads to a rabbit hole of isolation that keeps us divided. And that is exactly what has been imposed on us over and over throughout the ages. Just, you don't have to do things alone. And you don't have to be embarrassed about not being able to. We are social beings. We're not supposed to do things alone. We don't do things alone, ever.
Wow. I just want to pull us together and just say, Denise, thank you for that reminder in particular, and also this idea of what do we have to give up. Certainly, as revolutionaries, we do have to spend a lot of time checking in, staying centered, staying grounded, staying curious, staying learners, staying brave. And one of the things that I know as women is that we go in before we go out. So all the science say that if men run into a problem, they blame the problem. There's something wrong outside of them. They externalize things. Most often, women, we go in first. We think there's something wrong with us. And thus the shame and all of the extra energy that we spend sort of looking at ourselves in a negative and critical way. And so the self-love that, for example, I just loved when you said, it's no big deal. It's no big deal for me to stand here. When you and how hard it was to actually get you accepted. For women, we have such incredible maternal, some of us are maternal, not all of us, but we definitely have this communal thing. You know, all the science and the neuroscience says we can organize, we have details, we can multitask and all that. So there are a lot of really amazing things that make us great change agents. There are also all of these sort of socialized things that make us sort of turn in on ourselves and against each other. So I just want to remind us that we are beyond capable, beyond what we could even imagine or hope as far as what we're able to do. And doing it together is definitely the way we self-care and the way we maintain ourselves for the long haul. So thank you so much for all of everyone brought here today. I think it's been really amazing. Thank you so much.
Wow. I'm so humbled and grateful and proud and amazed that we had this moment. I really believe that this conversation tonight and that this video that we're going to put out is going to ignite a larger conversation. And I implore you to take part in doing that. When this comes up, we had some trouble. But there will be videos of this, and there will be videos of the self-defense workshops that happened today. And you really need to spread them out in all your communities so that we can stay safer and that we can learn from one another and lead by example and how we can build better together. Okay? A few things that I want to mention. First of all, I just want to remind you all why we came here today also. Is to benefit Marley's Call and the Eric Garner Way Foundation. And you can speak directly to both Constance and Erica in a little bit, and ways that you can help. You can also reach out to us at Yeah, That's What She Said, so we can direct you in ways that you can support. We will continue to take donations at the door tonight, so if you can make do without your brunch mimosa or your coffee, or like walk a little bit so you don't need a Metro card fare tomorrow, please dig deep. It goes right back into supporting these women, the important things that they're doing. Another thing I just want to mention is that self-care is extraordinarily important. I feel like we've heard a lot about the importance of self-care in terms of our survival and our ability to thrive. So I'd ask you all, we're going to have an Oprah moment. Reach under your chair. Reach under your chair. Okay, so so we have a small gift for all of you this evening. We were really blessed this year. Yeah, that's what she said, expanded in a way that none of us anticipated. While all of the organizers really do spend countless hours, and we're all working class women and poor women, right, who organize, yeah, that's what she said. And we spend countless hours in addition to our jobs. These are so excited. I know, they smell so good. So good. I know they're from Christmas, but they're so good, I promise. Yeah. So I just want to mention. So yeah, that's what she said. All of the organizers are working class women and poor women. We spend extensive time on top of our multiple, often more than 40 hours a week work week to come together to find ways to think about what it is that we need. And we need to hear from you about what you need. Yeah, that's what she said has expanded this year in a way that none of us could have thought the night that I sadly, drunkenly wrote a poem about what happened in my life because I was turning 30 and wasn't sure if I was supposed to have a panic attack about that, which is what spawned the beginning of this. So, and 30 is great, and 31's even better for anybody who's wondering. So, if you can, we want to thank the North Star Fund who really helped us to make our self-defense workshops as strong as possible, who supported us with small honorariums for all of our panelists here today. They really helped us make this the best it could be. Okay, so can we get a round of applause for the North Star Fund? And so these gifts, so I spent this one night, and it's the first time I've ever written like sponsorship letters, right? And so I stayed up till like 4 a.m. writing these like sort of ingratiating letters, like, blah, blah, blah. Will you please send us some stuff? Because we think it's a great opportunity for you. And luckily, we were so blessed that someone actually paid attention to my poorly written first attempt at a sponsorship letter, and that was Reggie Tika, who works at Lush in Canada. And he really looked at what we were doing, and he thought about what we were doing. And he has a 2-year-old daughter, Maven, and he really went to bat for us and sent us lots of things so we could offer you all a gift. So can we get a round of applause for Lush and for Reggie? Great. In the theme of just a few more announcements. I know we've been sitting for a long time. In terms of self-care, tomorrow we have a series of workshops. I'm facilitating a workshop tomorrow morning about how to create your own hand-drawn selfie. And I'll be collaborating with another artist. We'll be doing some things, some three-dimensional things with them inspired by Ellen Gallagher and Lorna Simpson. So I really encourage you to come to that tomorrow morning. There's a lot of space in the workshop. And then after that, we have a workshop called Intentional Adornment, which is a workshop that explores the relationship between women using adornment in a multitude of different kinds of ways, both ritualistic and spiritual. What happened? Yes. And we have a bunch of gear from Lush for that. And then we are so lucky to have the Queen of the Drums from Samba, New York City this year, CJ. Woo, CJ! Can you tell us a little bit about your workshop tomorrow?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So tomorrow I am leading a workshop called Samba for the Soul. Yes, and it's not like a dance workshop where you have to worry about necessarily if your feet are in the right place or whatever. I just want to get people moving and feeling really good in themselves, because Samba is a really ancient rhythm, and the movement is something that you feel from the ground up, and I just want to share that with people. It's a body positive workshop. Come in clothes you don't mind sweating in, that you feel comfortable in, and yeah, I just really would look forward to seeing people there. Register online or sign up.
Sign up tonight.
Sign up tonight.
Yeah. Sign up tonight. What
Yeah.
time is your workshop?
It is at 1:30 to 2:45. So that's time for you to eat and then come. and then have a little rest before intentional adornment. So
Beautiful. Just a few last things, and then we're all ready. We are going to close out in a very intentional way. So just give us a moment for just a few simple announcements. As you know, that there are some posters and things out at the front that I'd like you all to take a look at. Maybe pick some things up. Help us support our community. I also really want to encourage you all to take the time to watch Renee's TED Talk. She wrote an incredibly powerful. She did an incredibly powerful TED Talk, and you should all take the time to watch it. What's the title of your TED Talk?
How to overcome bias, walk boldly toward it. And it's about violence against Black men, but also how some of the source of that violence is in us as well. And so it's almost 1 million views. So if you watch it, put it to 1 million.
Great. And there's a little notebook out front. I really want you to think about what else we can do as a collective, as That's What She Said, to support our sisterhood and what we're growing here in New York City. Think about the kinds of workshops, the kind of people, the kinds of events you want to happen you can do, because we're going to do our best to build it for you. Okay? I am going to, so we have a short, very powerful thing that's going to happen right now. So I'm going to ask you to reground yourself for a moment before we introduce it. And then after that, we have some food for you and some beverages, some beverages that were donated by Witch's Brew. Our very good friend Nikoni will be here bartending tomorrow night during our public events, which people across the gender spectrum are welcome to join us at, a poetry reading and a film screening. That tomorrow is a benefit for Fierce, for trans Black media, and for queer detaining empowerment projects. So we really encourage you to spread the word. We're really trying to build things for.
I'm going to introduce you up here because I think you should come up here too. Okay, so we're going to close up with a poem from Carla Robinson. I'm going to read her bio because I like it. Carla Robinson, a Bronx native, is a poet, teaching artist, and special educator. She believes deeply in the power of poetry and its ability to transform communities by creating powerful, collaborative environments. A line from her poem, High Tide, summarizes her poetic philosophy. If we do not tell our own stories in our own voices, others will tell them for us. They'll paint us the wrong color and call us out our name. So I want to invite Carla up to read a poem, and then we'll invite you all to take a moment with an altar that Carla created, where you can take a moment to remember someone you've lost, someone that, one of the people that we've heard about today. Anyone, you can write a name on a postcard, leave it on there, light a candle, and just take a moment. But before that, here's Carla.
Is there a way I can lift this?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, Carla. That's okay. I just need my hands for my poem. Hi, everybody. Hi. It has been such a pleasure to spend this day with you all. I just am so blown away by just the power in this room. And I wanted to share with the panel that I was so inspired that I actually finished my journal today, listening to you all, taking notes on what you were saying. And back there on the altar on the right, there's a quote from W.E.B. Du Bois, and it says, "There's no force greater than a woman determined to rise." And I just feel like today of all days is just like the embodiment of that. And it's funny because when I have the privilege of working with Benson, and she originally asked me to read a poem, and I was like, no, not this year. I think I just want to do a little installation, because I really wanted to honor the women who have been killed by state violence, who I feel like their lives have been really silenced. And then she came back to me a little while after, and she was like, well, actually, could you read a poem at the end of this panel? And I looked at the panel, I was like, yes. I quickly changed my mind. So I want to share with you a poem. It's called My Sweet. My sweet,
I speak your name every night, call your name every morning, try my best to recall your evening scent, the gap in your teeth, the callous smoothness of your fingertips. And you are here, I know, but I cannot help but wish for your arms around my middle to hear your key in the door. This is a poem for all we have lost to the chokehold of the state. This is a poem for
Eleanor Buckley, Denisha Anderson, Laura Rossi.
we speak your name to reassemble the memory of peace that only lives in ourselves. We speak your name to remember. I can easily call up the fear of hoods and hoses, crack and COINTELPRO. I recognize the look of children, hungry for home and air and sunshine. I know the sound of an army of police circling schools when the bell rings. An army larger than the entire police force of our nation's capital. But I have never, in my lifetime, felt my people at peace. This is a poem for every woman we have lost. For
Yvette Smith, Shelley Frey, Darnisha Harris, Melissa Williams.
this is a poem for Chantel Davis. Sister, my sister. Your footprint has seeped into our souls. When we need to span time and place, please let us ride on your wings. When loneliness pulls us down, please let us all we have lost. For
Tasia Ben Jesus, Shirley Francis, Penny Proud, Miriam Carey, Gabriela Nevada.
this is a poem for Ayanna Jones. Daughter, my daughter. Your life and love are now embedded in ours. Your dreams and hopes rest on our tongue. Your voice speaks through our breath. For she whose name was never uttered, but whose touch we mourn, whose laugh we long for. For she whose name was uttered often for a short time, then never again. For she who never made the nightly news. For she who was thrown overboard, dumped on the side of the road, left in basements and alleys and backwoods. For she who was terrorized in her own home. For she whose life changed within a moment's notice. For she who wasn't able to adapt that fast. For she who is a shape-shifter. For she whose children are stolen, whose body is used for science. For she who suckled the master's children and gave birth shackled. For she who was never seen as a whole human, whose body was used as collateral. For she who could not withstand the trauma, but whose spirit remains. For she whose cries of pain are tragically mistaken, whose anguish is ignored, whose mental and emotional health needs distorted. For she who mistakes abuse for love, whose perceptions are warped by coercion. For she who has done things of which she is not proud. For she whose fear is so loud she cannot hear her own intuition. For she whose angels have a hard time finding her. For she whose body is a liability, blamed for things outside of her control. For she who is ahead of her time. For she who was stuck in a flashback, too afraid to close her eyes, who cannot see ahead nor behind. For she who attempted to cross oceans and time zones, but never made it to the promised land. For she whose story is rewritten without her permission. For she who was caught at the intersection, stuck, unable to get up. For she whose mourning is relentless. For she who stitched herself back together. For she whose work was stolen, whose contribution was never recognized, and whose gifts we take for granted, we speak. We are the biting breeze and the stubborn fog. We are a zone of complete combustions. Now is the moment we dance and celebrate deeper than ever before. Now is the moment we tend to each other stronger than ever before. Now is the moment. And wherever we find ourselves is the place. For she who refuses to be silent. For she with an unwavering faith. For she who shows the way by doing. For she who claims comfort in her own skin. This is a poem for all we are and all we are becoming. Speak, speak, speak. Thank you. everybody because they're two-sided postcards. And if you'll write the name of someone that you've lost, or if you have a wish or a prayer for our world, I just invite you to have it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, that happened to you.
Yeah, I just need to like upgrade a few things. But that's what like I want.
Is this my
It's
computer?
done.
Okay, can we